Hi, beautiful ladies. It's Denise Dealwright here, and welcome to my channel, Becoming Whole with Denise. Now, whether this is your very first time here, I want to welcome you to our coffee chat, or whether you've been here before and you've subscribed and you're a regular, welcome to my weekly coffee chats with Denise. So, what I want you to really do is go and grab yourself a coffee, a cup of tea, a wine, a cocktail, or whatever you're drinking today, wherever you are in the world, and let's spend a few minutes together. Every week, we're going to have honest chats and conversations about life. Yep, about life. You know, the things that we really don't say out loud. We keep them to ourselves. And also the moments that we go, is this really it? So we're going to chat about that. And we're going to chat about that every week because there's so much that comes up, especially after major change in your life. You know, what I have found is that the biggest change and the biggest major question is, who am I? Who am I? Who am I now? What do I want from me? And a lot of my clients can't answer that. They really can't. And I've been thinking about one client in particular today. We had a conversation, and she came to the call, she wanted help around not being able to finish things. She felt that she was too much of a perfectionist, that she needed help with it because she was not finishing her artwork. She loved doing art, but it was never good enough for her. It was never what she wanted. It was something that was put on the back burner. And it really bothered her because she wasn't ever finishing anything. But here's what we discovered. It had nothing to do with her artwork. Absolutely nothing to do with her artwork. She had paintings that she had started, never completed them, had paintings lying all over the place. She started with excited ideas and she was going to finish this, and it was of her dogs and her kids and her grandchildren. And then the frustration set in. If I could just start and finish, everything would be different. My whole life would change. But as we were talking through her starting and not finishing and procrastinating and her perfectionism, I started listening to the way she was talking about herself. She kept saying things like, I've always been like this. Since I was a child, I've never been able to finish stuff. I never ever finish anything, no matter what it is. Yeah, that's just who I am. It's just who I am. I'll never change. And it made me wonder. It really made me wonder. How many times do we say something about ourselves that we've repeated for so many years, over and over and over and over again, that we've actually stopped asking whether that is really me? And it's not because we're lying to ourselves or we want to try and make things up about ourselves. It's simply because we've said it so often and repeated it so often that it feels like the truth. That's just who I am. So I challenged her. And I asked her if she was open to looking at it from a different angle. Initially, she pushed back because she couldn't believe. She said, no, there is no other angle. This is just who I am. So initially, she pushed back. No, I'll be fine. This is who I am. I've always been like that. She genuinely believed she'd already worked out what the problem was. The problem was that she's not finishing anything. And I know that we've all done it. We think we know what the problem is. We create a story about, like her story was, I never finish anything. Or maybe you said to yourself, and I know I've said it, I'm just not confident. I'm not a confident person. I never have been, and I never will be. How many times do you say that to yourself? Or, oh, I'm just hopeless with money. How do your money so well. I'm just hopeless with money. Or I'm terrible at relationships. And the big one is I always put everyone first. Everyone's more important than me. So I always put, and we wear it like a badge of honor, don't we? It's like I put everybody first. Look how amazing I am. Whatever it is for you, we become so certain that this is who we are. And you know what the danger is? We stop becoming curious. So before we finished our session, I gave her one piece of homework, just one piece of homework. And it wasn't a worksheet. It wasn't something that would take hours and hours and hours. I simply asked her to notice how she speaks to herself. That's it. Not to change it, not to argue with it, not to overanalyze it, just notice it. Because when we have a conversation with ourselves every day, that conversation shapes our life. It shapes our beliefs. It shapes our strategies. It shapes how we think. That conversation that we have in our head every day that nobody else knows about is what keeps you stuck. Now, I don't know where my client's story ends yet because we're still working together. We haven't had our next session yet. But her conversation really stayed with me because it made me wonder how many of us spend years and years and years trying to solve the problem that we can visibly see. We see it. We know what the problem is. I know it. How many times have you said to yourself, yeah, I know that. This is who I am. But while we are doing that, we are completely missing the conversation that's quietly running underneath it. Now, if I had to ask you what's in your head right now, I bet you haven't even thought about that. But we are talking to ourselves, about our environment, about everybody else, about everything else, 24/7. We never stop. Our brain doesn't stop. It just goes blah, 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 monkey brain all the time. But the key is, what is that saying to you? What is that story that you are listening to in your head about your life, about you, about your kids, about your friends, about your work colleagues? What is that saying constantly? But the most important voice I want you to listen to is a voice about yourself. Is it saying, this is just who I am? This is just who I am. I can't change. Is it saying, I'm too old for change? Goodness me, if I've heard that once, I've heard it a million times. Or is it saying, I'm too sick to change? You're in too much pain to change. There's too much water under the bridge. Don't think you can do that. Who do you think you are? Another client that comes to mind as I was talking about that was a beautiful lady that I worked with from the UK. And she was brought up in a very strict English home. And the saying that she always had was, don't get above your station. So she kept herself small. So as you go about your day today and your week, I want you to really think about, what is your brain? What are your mind? What are you talking about? Now remember, don't fix it. Don't judge yourself. Just notice. Start becoming aware. You know, when we become aware, that's when we can start our transformation. So I'd really love to know if this conversation today resonated with you. Leave me a comment below, because guess what? I read every single comment and I try and reply to as many as I possibly can. And very often they come as inspiration for our next coffee chat. And if you'd like to join me each week, I'd love you to subscribe so you don't miss our next conversation. So as we move forward into next week, be aware of your thoughts. Thank you so much for spending time with me. And until next time, enjoy the rest of your day. And I'll see you for another coffee chat.